The brass knocker felt cold under my knuckles. 3 raps, measured and deliberate. Dominic stood behind me on the porch, briefcase in hand, his expression neutral as a church window. The November wind came off the bay sharp enough to cut, and somewhere down the block, a dog barked twice before going quiet. The door opened. Lena stood there in a pilled gray sweater I'd never seen before, the kind she'd have burned rather than wear in front of company. Her hair was pulled back tight, and for half a second something flickered across her face, surprise, maybe, or the start of panic, before she smoothed it flat. "Evan," she said. "Lena, I didn't expect—" "I know." She glanced past me to Dominic, then back. "If you've come to talk, we should do this alone." "We're not here to talk," I said. Dominic stepped forward and held out a manila envelope, crisp and clean. "Mrs. Rourke, I'm Dominic Hale, Mr. Rourke's attorney. These are divorce papers. You've been served." Her hand came up automatically, fingers closing around the envelope like it might bite. The color drained from her face in stages, cheeks first, then lips. "You're—" She stopped. Started again. "You're seriously doing this?" "Already done," I said. "Evan, if you'd just reflect on what happened, reflect." The word came out flat. "You threw me out 3 weeks ago, wouldn't answer my calls, blocked me on everything. Your friends rated my creep vibes on Instagram, and you want me to reflect? You know why—" "I know what Maya said. I also know it was bullshit." Lena's jaw tightened. "Don't you dare." "Mom." We both turned. Maya stood in the hallway behind her mother, skinny arms wrapped around herself, eyes red-rimmed and puffy, 15 years old and small, in an oversized hoodie that had been mine once. "Maya, go to your room," Lena said. "Mom, I need to tell you something." "Not now." "Mom," her voice cracked, "I made it up." The wind gusted, rattling the porch light fixture. A neighbor's Ring doorbell glowed pale blue 2 houses down, watching everything. Lena's face went very still. "What?" "I made it up," Maya said again, louder now, words tumbling out fast like she'd rehearsed them and had to get through before she lost her nerve. "The stuff I said about Evan, the staring, the comments, all of it, it wasn't true." Lena's hand tightened on the envelope. "You're confused." "I'm not confused." Maya's voice climbed toward hysteria. "I lied. I said those things and I knew they weren't true, and I said them anyway. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." "Why?" I kept my voice level. "Why would you do that?" Maya's eyes met mine, held for a beat, then skittered away. "He told me to." Everything stopped. "He who?" I said. Maya opened her mouth, closed it. Her gaze slid past me toward the street, and I felt it before I turned, the weight of someone else's attention. A car door shut. I turned. A silver Audi sat at the curb, engine ticking as it cooled. The driver's side was empty. And standing on the walkway, halfway between the car and the porch, was Chase Adler. 38 years old, 6'1", with the kind of sculpted stubble that takes effort, and a jacket that cost more than my truck. He had his phone in one hand, keys in the other, and an expression that said he'd just walked in on a conversation he'd been invited to. "Evening," he said. Lena's face did something complicated. "Who the hell are you?" Dominic said. "Chase Adler." He smiled, easy and white. "Friend of the family." I looked at Lena. "You brought your boyfriend to our house?" "Boyfriend?" Chase's smile widened. "That's a bit—" "Get in the car," I said. His eyebrows rose. "Excuse me?" "Get in your car and leave." I think Lena can decide who's welcome in her home. Her home. I took a step forward. Dominic's hand landed light on my shoulder. "Evan," Dominic said quietly. "Not here." I didn't move. Chase glanced at Lena, then back at me. "Look, man, I get that this is awkward. You get nothing." "Evan," Lena said, "please." I turned to Maya. "Did he tell you what to say?" She nodded, tears tracking down her face. Say it out loud. He told me what to say about you, Maya whispered. He gave me the words. Chase's smile slipped. That's not, Maya, we talked about framing, that's all. You coached her to lie about me. I coached her to express herself, to her mother, about me, using phrases you fed her. Chase spread his hands. You're misunderstanding. Am I? Dominic's grip on my shoulder tightened. Evan, we're leaving. Yeah, I said. We are. I looked at Lena. Her hand still clutched the envelope, knuckles white. Behind her, Maya was sobbing, quiet and broken. You'll want to read that tonight, I said. We're filing Monday morning. Evan, wait. But I was already turning, walking down the steps with Dominic beside me. My truck sat behind Chase's Audi, engine cold. I pulled my keys. Behind us, Lena's voice rose. Maya, inside. Now. I didn't look back. Dominic unlocked his sedan, slid the briefcase onto the passenger seat. You did good. Didn't feel good. It's not supposed to. He paused, one hand on the doorframe. Stay away from him. From Chase. From both of them. Let the process work. And if the process doesn't work? Dominic gave me a look I couldn't read. Then we adjust. But you don't touch him. Understood? Understood. He got in his car and drove away. I stood beside my truck, keys in hand, and watched Chase's Audi. He was still on the porch, talking to Lena in a voice too low to hear. She shook her head, said something back. He touched her arm. I got in my truck and started the engine. 3 weeks ago, Lena had called the cops and told them I was refusing to leave. I'd been at a job site. By the time I got home, my clothes were in trash bags on the lawn, and Maya was crying in the doorway saying I'd made her uncomfortable, that I stared, that I said things. The officer, Tilda March, who I'd worked with on fire calls years back, had looked at me with cop eyes and said it'd be easier if I found somewhere else to stay tonight. I'd spent that night on Nora Keats's couch. Nora was our neighbor, a nurse with a blunt mouth and a low tolerance for bullshit. She'd watched the whole thing unfold from her porch and afterward brought me a beer and a pillow. What did you do? She'd asked. Nothing. Then why's Maya saying you did? I don't know. But I'd known even then that something was off. Maya had been distant for weeks, snapping at me, avoiding eye contact, spending hours in her room with the door locked. I'd thought it was normal teenage stuff. Turns out it was prep work. Now I pulled out my phone and scrolled to Nora's contact. She answered on the second ring. Tell me you served her, Nora said. I served her. Good. When's the court date? No court date yet. Dominic's filing Monday. She fight it? She didn't have time, Maya confessed. Silence on the line. Then, confessed to what? To lying about everything. Jesus. Turns out someone coached her. Who? Guy named Chase Adler, Lena's boyfriend. Nora made a noise low in her throat. The gym guy? You know him? Of him. He runs that bougie fitness studio downtown. SculptHouse or some bullshit. Always posting thirst traps with protein shakes. That's him. And he told Maya to lie about you? Yeah. Why? I don't know yet. You gonna find out? I looked at the envelope sitting on my passenger seat, the one Dominic had given me before we'd gone to the house. Inside were copies of everything. Texts, emails, timestamps, a preliminary asset list. Yeah, I said. I'm going to find out. The bait shop smelled like seawater and mildew. My room was above it, one narrow space with a slanted ceiling and a window that rattled when the wind hit right. The rent was $200 a week, paid in cash to Griggs, the site foreman at the condo tower where I worked maintenance. $200 bought me 4 creaking walls, a mattress that had seen better decades, and a view of the harbor crowded with boats that never left their slips. Sometimes, late at night, I lay awake listening to the ropes slap against fiberglass hulls and imagined they were trying to break free. Griggs didn't ask questions. He'd hired me 8 months ago after the volunteer firefighter gig dried up. Budget cuts, new chief, wrong timing, and we'd developed an understanding. I kept the building's guts running, pumps, HVAC, security systems, and he kept the office off my back about certifications I didn't have and probably wasn't getting. He liked results more than paperwork. I liked being left alone. It balanced. I dropped my keys on the dresser and pulled the envelope out, spread the pages across the bed. Dominic had been thorough. Maybe too thorough, the kind of thoroughness that meant payment wasn't his only motivation. Purchase records showing Lena's spending in the last 6 months. Dinners, ride shares, a sudden uptick in boutique athleisure. Screenshots of her Instagram stories, time-stamped and geotagged. A spreadsheet of recurring payments. Even a log of which credit card she used at which place, color-coded. The man had a gift for obsession. One screenshot showed her at SculptHouse at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. Mirror selfie with the caption, "Grinding even when it's late." Another showed her car parked outside the studio 3 times in 1 week. A late-night fitness studio run by a guy who sold protein powder on TikTok. On the surface, nothing illegal about that. But I'd learned a long time ago that nothing was ever just the surface. I sat on the edge of the bed and pulled out my own phone. Opened Instagram. Searched Chase Adler. His profile was public, polished, and predictable. Photos of him mid-workout, mid-smoothie, mid-smile. Captions full of hashtags and motivational bullshit. Hustle hard, rise and grind, hot mindset matters. 5,000 followers, blue check mark. He had that look, teeth too white, shoulders too square, camera angles practiced, the kind of guy who could sell hope in a bottle and sleep at night. I scrolled back through his feed. 3 weeks ago, he'd posted a photo at a restaurant I recognized, Riccardo's, the Italian place on Main where the bread was good and the wine was watered down unless the owner liked you. The caption read, "Celebrating new beginnings with the right people." In the background, blurred but visible, was Lena. I zoomed in. She was laughing, wine glass raised, her hand on someone's shoulder. The angle was wrong to see who. Could have been Chase. Could have been someone else. Either way, she hadn't mentioned it. She never mentioned any of this. I screenshotted it, kept scrolling. 2 months ago, a photo of Chase at the marina, sunset golden behind him, boat ropes in the foreground. Caption, "Sometimes you just need to clear your head." 1 month ago, another restaurant, another blurred figure in the background. Same laugh, same posture, same dress in a different color. Not coincidence, pattern. I went back to the first photo and checked the tagged location. SculptHouse Fitness Studio. I opened Google Maps. The studio was downtown, 2 blocks from the waterfront, in a converted warehouse with floor-to-ceiling windows and a neon sign that read, "Build more than muscle." I'd driven past it 100 times, never wondered what went on inside. Now I wondered. I zoomed in on Street View. The entrance had a keypad lock and a camera above the door. The windows showed rows of equipment, mirrors, and motivational posters. Push past your limits, you are your only competition. Pain is just data. I checked the hours. Open 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily. A gym that stayed open that late wasn't just a gym, it was a meeting point. A place people could disappear into without technically disappearing. Before we continue, hit the hype button, subscribe, and like the video to help the channel grow. Tell us which city you are from in the comments. We'd love to get to know our audience better. I looked at the time, 8:45. I grabbed my jacket. The hallway outside my door smelled like damp wood and old fishing line. I locked up, out of habit, not necessity. Nobody wanted what was in that room except me, and even I wasn't sure why. Down the stairs, past the darkened bait shop, buckets stacked, nets drying, handwritten sign taped to the door. Back at dawn. The air outside hit cold, sharper than it had been that morning. Wind came off the water, biting through the jacket. The pier lights flickered like they were trying to stay awake. My truck was parked 2 blocks over, where the city still pretended parking meters worked. I slid in, started the engine, and let it idle long enough for the heater to cough itself awake. The console was cluttered with tools, wire cutters, a voltage tester, a set of picks I didn't admit to owning. Things I told myself were for my job, but used for everything else. As I pulled onto the street, I thought about Lena, about how her laugh used to sound before everything felt like a performance, about the last time we talked without needing to pretend we were fine, about how people didn't vanish all at once. They drifted, step by step, until one day you looked up and realized they'd walked miles without you. The drive downtown was 10 minutes if you hit the lights right, 15 if you didn't. I hit every red. Gave me time to think, which wasn't always good. Dominic's report hadn't said why he wanted the information, only that he needed to know who Lena was spending time with and what they were doing. He'd paid half up front in cash, the rest promised upon delivery. I wasn't a detective. I didn't have a license. But I had eyes, hands, and a past full of skills nobody ever asked for on a resume. I turned onto Water Street. SculptHouse glowed in the distance like a glass lantern, windows lit, silhouettes moving inside. Music pulsed, low but steady, the kind of beat made to sync a heart rate to ambition. A few cars were parked out front, high-end mostly, Range Rovers, electric sedans, a matte black Jeep with aftermarket tires. Money moved through this place, and money never moved without leaving footprints. People came and went in tight formation. Swipe in, sweat, swipe out. No loitering, no small talk. Like they'd been instructed. Like the gym was only step 1 of whatever bargain they'd made. I checked the clock. 9:07. 53 minutes until close. Plenty of time to observe. Not enough to get comfortable. A woman in a gray hoodie exited, phone pressed to her ear, talking fast. She glanced over her shoulder twice before getting into her car. Another guy came out right after, muscular, carrying a duffel the size of a weekend getaway. He shook out his shoulders, looked both ways, then disappeared around the corner instead of heading to the lot. Not typical gym behavior. Nobody looked relaxed. Everyone seemed like they were on stage and afraid to miss a cue. I pulled the binoculars from the glove compartment, cheap but good enough, and focused on the door. The keypad. 4 digits. Probably changed weekly, maybe daily. It didn't matter. I had other ways in. The real variable was the camera. Dome style, wide angle, infrared, wired, not wireless. That meant a feed going somewhere, maybe a local server room, maybe a cloud backup if Chase was the type to trust tech companies more than people. Either way, if I wanted inside without being seen, I'd have to avoid the door. I considered the windows. Too exposed. Considered the roof. Better. Warehouse roof meant vents, skylights, access points, maintenance ladders too if I got lucky. I made a mental map. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let it go. Buzzed again. Voicemail icon lit. I checked it. Call me back, Dominic's voice said. Something changed. Fast. I stared at the phone. Dominic didn't rattle easy. The fact that he called instead of texting meant urgency. The fact that he left no details meant danger. I deleted the message and stared at the gym again. If something had changed, it was already in motion. Whether I got inside or not, I was part of it now. The wind picked up. A gull screeched overhead, angry at nothing. The neon sign flickered, then steadied. I stepped out of the truck and closed the door without slamming it. The street smelled like salt and asphalt. My boots echoed against the pavement as I walked, casual pace, hands in pockets, like I was just heading somewhere that wasn't here. But I was here, and I was going in. I circled the block first, mapping exits and blind spots. The rear of the building backed onto an alley lined with dumpsters and delivery crates. A single security light glowed above the service door, casting a sickly yellow cone. No camera, no keypad, just a deadbolt and a metal handle scarred by age. A delivery schedule was taped to the wall, protein powder shipments twice a week, crates of bottled supplements once a month, branded apparel whenever stock dipped, legitimate enough to hide something illegitimate. I tried the handle, locked as expected. I slid a pick from my pocket, thin as a whisper. I listened to the tumblers like they were trying to tell me a secret. 1, 2, 3. Click. Door eased open with barely a sound. Inside, the hallway smelled like rubber mats and eucalyptus cleaner. Dim lighting, pipes running along the ceiling, humming with water pressure. I closed the door behind me, wedge of cardboard slipping into place to keep it from latching. To my left, storage room, unlocked, full of branded merch and boxes. To my right, a door marked office, locked, keypad coded. Ahead, another door, glass pane, frosted, leading to the gym floor. Music louder now, rhythmic, mechanical. I ignored the office for the moment and approached the glass. A narrow strip near the top hadn't been frosted, sloppy. I peered through. Rows of treadmills, a squat rack, weight benches, mirrors reflecting effort. 4 people still inside, all spread out, all focused hard enough to pretend they weren't aware of each other. But they were. You could tell from the eyes. Quick scans in the mirror, half-second glances at the door, like everyone expected someone to walk in and say their name wrong. A figure emerged from a side doorway. Him. Chase. Taller than he looked online. In-person charisma. The kind that filled space. He clapped one guy on the shoulder, whispered something. The man nodded too fast. Chase grinned. The grin never reached his eyes. I leaned back from the glass. Something about the energy in the room felt off. Not just a gym, a filter, a place to evaluate people, sort them, choose. I turned to the office door. Keypad, 4 digits, maybe 5. Smudges on the buttons, 3, 7, 8, 0. I tried a few combinations. Third one worked, 7380. Door unlocked with a soft beep. Inside, desk, dual monitors, files stacked in neat columns, a corkboard on the wall, pinned with photos, schedules, handwritten notes. Not police-level organization, but close enough. A second board listed names in columns, each labeled with a letter, A, B, C. A few had check marks beside them. Lena's name was there. Column B, checked twice. I snapped a photo, moved fast, opened the filing cabinet. Contracts, liability waivers, and deeper, intake questionnaires. Not normal gym stuff. Questions about income level, free time, willingness to travel, personal networks, influence. I heard footsteps, someone walking toward the office. I slid the drawer shut, hit the lights, crouched behind the desk. The handle turned. Chase stepped in, humming. He flicked on the light, but only halfway, just enough to see. He sat at the desk, opened a drawer, took out a ledger, old-school paper. He liked things that were harder to hack. He wrote a note. 1 line. I strained to read. Lena confirmed for Thursday. Moved to A-list. My stomach went cold. A-list wasn't about fitness. It was about priority, level, value. I waited until he stood, stretched, and walked out again. When the hallway was silent, I slipped back the way I came, careful, listening for footsteps, breath held longer than needed. Outside, the night smelled the same, salt, asphalt, faint hint of something burning. But everything felt different. I reached the truck, slid behind the wheel, and let the silence settle. Thursday, 2 days. Whatever SculptHouse was, Lena was in the middle of it. Dominic knew it. Now I did. And once you know something like that, you don't get to unknow it. You either walk away, or you go all the way in. The studio's lobby was all glass and blue light, the kind of lighting that made everyone look slightly unreal, like actors waiting to be called to set. A curved desk sat in the center, unmanned, its white surface so polished it reflected the ceiling lights in smooth, perfect lines. Behind it, a hallway stretched toward the workout floor where the thud of bass and the rhythmic clang of weights pulsed like a mechanical heartbeat. The scent of eucalyptus and disinfectant floated in the air, the weaponized cleanliness of high-end fitness. I walked in. The door chimed, a soft, artificial note that didn't belong to any real instrument. A woman appeared from the hallway, mid-30s, dark hair pulled into a ponytail so tight it was practically a facelift. She wore the kind of athleisure that looked engineered, no seams, no wrinkles, the color of wet stone. She smiled, professional and distant, the kind of smile designed for customer service photos. "Hi, welcome to SculptHouse. Are you here for a trial class?" "I'm here to see Chase Adler." Her smile flickered like a glitch in a screensaver. "Do you have an appointment?" "No." "Chase is in a session right now." "I'll wait." She glanced toward the hallway the way people glance toward exits during a fire drill, then back at me. "Can I ask what this is regarding?" "Personal." "I'm sorry, but if you don't have an appointment, tell him Evan Rourke is here." That stopped her. Not physically, but internally. Her posture tightened. Breath caught. She didn't write the name down. She didn't need to. Her face went carefully blank. One moment. She disappeared down the hallway with the posture of someone walking along the edge of a cliff, but pretending it was a sidewalk. I stayed in the lobby, hands in my pockets, eyes wandering without really trying. The walls were covered with framed photos, before and afters, clients smiling and pointing at flat stomachs, transformation stories printed in bold fonts that sounded like slogans from protein powder commercials. There were sponsorship logos, magazine covers, ads for energy drinks. One entire section was dedicated to Chase himself. Chase at a fitness expo gripping a microphone, Chase holding a trophy in gym shorts and a spray tan, Chase wearing a suit and shaking hands with a local councilman like they were sealing a deal that involved tax breaks and protein bars. In every photo, his smile was the same. Wide, white, practiced. A smile that had been trained longer than his biceps. The woman returned. "He'll be out in 5 minutes. You can wait here." "Thanks." She slipped away again, efficient and silent. I sat on one of the lobby chairs, low, modern, deliberately ergonomic in a way that felt like punishment for sitting. On the wall beside me was a corkboard covered in flyers, upcoming classes, nutrition challenges, a charity run next month, all neon fonts and hashtags. At the bottom, half hidden behind a yoga schedule, was a printed photo. Chase with his arm around a blonde woman, both of them grinning. The caption read, "Partners in Sweat, Chase and Rhea." Their teeth were identical, white and perfect, like they came from the same lab. I pulled out my phone and took a picture. No flash, no sound. Just documentation. 5 minutes turned into 10. Then into the slow stretch of 12, where every second felt like a bead of water tapping the back of your skull. The bass from the workout floor got louder, then cut out abruptly. Voices echoed down the hallway, laughter, goodbyes, the shuffle of gym bags and water bottles, the artificial world of curated fitness in motion. Then footsteps, heavy but controlled, the gait of someone who knows people are watching even when they're not. Chase appeared. Still in his workout gear, compression shirt, shorts, shoes that probably cost more than my truck payment. A towel hung around his neck like a boxer between rounds. He stopped when he saw me, the kind of stop that isn't surprise, just calculation. "Evan," he said. "Chase. Didn't expect to see you here. I bet." He glanced toward the desk, then back at me. His eyes moved the way fighters move, looking for distance, for openings, for exits. "Listen, man, about earlier, you coached a 15-year-old to lie about me." His jaw tightened, just enough to show he wasn't as calm as his voice pretended. "That's not what happened." "Then tell me what happened." "I gave Maya some advice, that's it." "Advice?" She was confused, overwhelmed. I helped her articulate how she felt. How she felt, or how you wanted her to feel? Chase's eyes narrowed, the smile fading at the edges like a decal in the sun. "I don't like what you're implying. I don't care what you like." He stepped forward close enough that I could smell his cologne, something expensive and cloying, like cedar wood dipped in sugar. "You need to leave." I'm leaving, I said. But first I want to know why. Why what? Why you told Maya to lie. I didn't. She said you did, out loud, in front of her mother. A flicker under the surface, something fast, something feral, gone in a blink, replaced by neutral calm. Kids say a lot of things when they're upset. She wasn't upset when she said it. She was relieved. Look, man, stop calling me man. He tried again, different tactic, salesman tone, reassuring, steady, fake. You're making a scene. I haven't started making a scene. Then don't. He leaned in, voice lowering into a register meant for intimidation. You want to know why? Because Lena asked me to. She needed an exit and you weren't giving her one, so I helped. The lobby went so quiet it rang. Lena asked you to coach her daughter into lying about me. She asked me to help Maya feel safe expressing herself. That's not the same thing. It is if Maya was already scared and you were too dense to notice. My hand curled into a fist before I even realized it. Chase saw it, of course he did, and smiled. Not friendly, not human, predatory. Go ahead, he said. Give me a reason to call the cops. Behind him, the woman from earlier, Rhea, I assumed, appeared in the hallway, arms crossed, watching, waiting for the version of the story she would later repeat. How I came in angry, how Chase stayed calm, how the police had to be called. I uncurled my fist, one finger at a time. You're going to regret this, I said. Chase's smile widened, all teeth, no soul. I don't think I will. I turned and walked out. The door chimed behind me, the same artificial note now sounding like mockery. The cold air outside hit like a slap, sharp and clarifying. I walked the short distance to my truck, got in, locked the doors, and just sat there, hands on the wheel, breathing slow, counting heartbeats. My phone buzzed. A text from Nora. You okay? I typed back, fine. A lie small enough to fit in a single word. Another buzz. Dominic. Don't do anything stupid. I didn't answer. Instead, I opened Instagram again. Chase's page, the world he built out of angles and filters and protein shakes. I scrolled back through the photos. Him at a charity gala, him with a dog that probably wasn't even his, him in a convertible captioned, earned, not given. Then I stopped on one from 6 months ago. Chase at the marina, sun on the water, sunglasses on, standing beside a white boat like he owned the ocean. The caption read, Clear head, clear goals. I zoomed in on the background. The boat's name was visible on the hull, Second Wind. I opened a new tab and searched for marina records, pulled up the harbor master's site, typed in Second Wind. The registration came up. Owner, Chase Adler, slip number 47. I checked the time, 9:30. The marina was 10 minutes away, 10 minutes if I drove the speed limit, fewer if I didn't. The thought formed in my head the way storms gather over open water, quiet, inevitable, electric. Not a plan, not yet, just a destination, a direction gravity was already pulling me toward. The truck engine rumbled awake beneath my hands. The street outside was empty, the sky a low ceiling of clouds reflecting the city lights back down like a warning. I put the truck in gear. There are moments in life when you know you're standing on the hinge of something, before and after, two sides of a door you can't close once it swings. You don't always recognize those moments when they happen. This time, I did, and I drove toward it anyway. And the docks were empty. Boats creaked in their slips, hulls bumping against rubber fenders. The water was black and still, the surface slick with diesel rainbows. Overhead the security lights buzzed, yellow and dim. I walked down the main pier, boots loud on the planks. Slip 47 was near the end, past the sailboats and day cruisers. The boat was small, a 20-footer with a canvas cover and a name stenciled in peeling letters, Second Wind. I stopped at the edge of the slip and looked around. No cameras visible, no harbor master station this far out. Just the boats and the water and the wind. I stepped onto the deck. The canvas was held down with bungee cords. I unhooked one side and peeled it back. Underneath was a bench seat with a storage compartment beneath. I opened it. Inside, a gym bag, a cooler, a coil of rope, and a plastic bin labeled maintenance. I pulled out the gym bag, unzipped it. The first thing I saw was a shaker bottle, half full of something that smelled like vanilla and rot. Beneath it were clothes, shorts, a tank top, socks. At the bottom was a phone, not a smartphone, a burner, cheap plastic, no case. I turned it on. The screen lit up, no password. I opened the call log. 3 numbers, all unlabeled. I clicked the first one. It rang 4 times, then went to a generic voicemail. I clicked the second, same thing. The third rang twice, then someone picked up. Yeah? A woman's voice, young and uncertain. Who is this? I said. Silence. Then, who are you? Evan Rourke. I don't... She stopped. Did Chase give you this number? No. Then how... I found his phone. Another pause. You need to put it back. Why? Because he's going to know it's gone. Let him know. You don't understand. Then explain it. She hung up. I stared at the phone, called the number back. It rang, then disconnected. I scrolled through the text messages. Most were short, cryptic. Tomorrow at 6. Usual place. Bring cash. One thread was longer. I opened it. The contact was saved as M. The first message, he's asking questions. Response. About what? M. About me, about what I said. Response. Stick to the script. M. I don't know if I can. Response. You don't have a choice. M. He's going to figure it out. Response. No, he won't. Just keep your mouth shut and let me handle it. The timestamp was 3 weeks ago. M was Maya. I took a screenshot. Kept scrolling. Another thread, this one with someone labeled L. L. Did you talk to her? Response. Yeah. She's solid. L. You're sure? Response. I'm sure. She'll say what she needs to say. L. What if Evan doesn't leave? Response. He will. Nobody wants to be the bad guy. L. And if he fights it? Response. Then we make it worse. The timestamp was 4 weeks ago. I took another screenshot. Behind me, footsteps echoed on the dock. I spun. A figure stood at the entrance to the slip, backlit by the security light. Evan, Chase said. I should have known. I shoved the phone in my pocket and stood. You keep a burner on your boat. That's private property. So's my reputation. Chase stepped onto the dock, hands loose at his sides. You need to leave. I will, after you tell me why. Why what? Why you texted Maya. Why you told her to keep her mouth shut. Why you and Lena planned this whole thing. His face stayed smooth. You're paranoid. I've got the texts. No, you've got a phone that doesn't belong to you. Same thing. Chase smiled. You really think anyone's going to believe you broke into my boat, stole my phone, and found texts that just happened to prove your crazy theory? They will when I show them. Show who? The cops? A judge? He laughed. Good luck. I took a step forward. You destroyed my life. I didn't destroy anything. You did that yourself. By existing? By being in the way. The dock creaked under us. Water sloshed against the pilings. Lena wanted out, Chase said. She asked me for help. I gave it, that's all. You manipulated a kid. I gave a kid the words to express what she was already feeling. She wasn't feeling anything. You made her feel it. Potato, potato. I lunged. Chase sidestepped, fast and clean, and I stumbled past him. My boot hit a wet patch and slid. I caught myself on the railing, breath coming hard. Chase didn't move. You want to hit me? Go ahead. Give me a reason. I don't need a reason. Yeah, you do. Because you're the good guy, right? The victim. And victims don't throw punches. I straightened. I'm not a victim. Then what are you? Chase's smile widened. Big talk. I pulled the burner from my pocket and held it up. I'm keeping this. No, you're not. Watch me. I turned and walked down the dock. Behind me, Chase called out, "Evan." I stopped. "You give that phone to anyone, and I'll make sure Maya recants everything she said tonight. I'll make sure she goes on record saying you threatened her, that you scared her into lying. Do you understand?" I looked back. "You'd do that to her?" "I'd do that for Lena. Lena doesn't love you. She loves what I give her." "And what's that?" "An exit." I stared at him. He stared back, hands in his pockets, expression serene. Then I threw the phone. It arced through the air, tumbling end over end, and hit the water 20 feet out. It sank without a sound. Chase's smile vanished. "Oops," I said. I walked off the dock. Behind me, I heard him shout something, but I didn't look back. I got in my truck and drove away, hands steady on the wheel, heart pounding in my chest. When I got back to the bait shop, I sat on the edge of the bed and pulled out my phone, opened the screenshots I'd taken of the texts. They were still there. Time-stamped, clear, damning. I sent them to Dominic with a message. Found these on a burner. Chase and Lena planned it together. His response came 2 minutes later. "Where's the phone?" I typed. At the bottom of the bay. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Finally, "We'll talk tomorrow. Don't do anything else tonight." I set the phone down and lay back on the bed. The ceiling was water-stained and sagging. Outside, the wind picked up, rattling the window. I closed my eyes. Tomorrow, I'd figure out the next step. Tomorrow, I'd make them pay. Tonight, I just needed to breathe. The diner at 6 a.m. smelled like burnt coffee and fryer grease. Rhea Park sat in a booth by the window, hands wrapped around a mug, eyes on the street outside. I slid into the seat across from her. "You're late," she said. "Traffic." "There's no traffic at 6 a.m. "Then I'm inconsiderate." She smiled, small and tight. "You're Evan. You're Rhea. Chase called me last night. Said you broke into his boat." "I didn't break in. It was unlocked." "Semantics." I leaned back. "Why'd you text me?" "Because I think we can help each other." "Help how?" She reached into her bag and pulled out a folder, brown and worn at the edges. Set it on the table between us. "What's that?" I said. "Proof that Chase is a liar." I opened the folder. Inside were printouts, texts, emails, contracts. I skimmed the first page. It was a complaint from a vendor, dated 6 months ago. Chase Adler misrepresented our partnership agreement and refuses to honor payment terms. The second page was an email chain between Rhea and a lawyer. "We're exploring options to dissolve the partnership without triggering the non-compete clause." The third was a text thread between Chase and someone labeled K. "She's asking questions. Stall her." I looked up. "You're trying to get rid of him." "I'm trying to survive him," Rhea said. "He's bleeding the business dry, comped memberships to anyone who'll post about us. Sponsorship deals that don't exist. He's all image and no substance." "Then why partner with him?" "Because I thought he'd bring clients." And he did. But he also brought drama and debt and a trail of people who want to sue us. I closed the folder. "What do you want from me?" "I want him gone. You want revenge. I figure we can work together." "How?" She leaned forward. "Chase keeps things. Evidence. Leverage. Stuff he thinks protects him." "Where?" "The studio. And somewhere else." "Where else?" She hesitated. "A storage unit at the condo tower. The one that's half finished downtown." I sat up. "My job site?" "You work there?" "Maintenance." "Then you've got access. To the public areas, not to private storage. But you know the layout." "Yeah." Rhea tapped the folder. "He keeps a duffel bag there. I've seen him go in with it and come out without it." "What's in it?" "I don't know. But if it's anything like the stuff he keeps at the studio, it's bad." I thought about the burner phone, the texts, the way Chase had smiled when he said he'd make Maya recant. "What's in it for you?" I said. I get him out of the business without a lawsuit. You get dirt on him and Lena, we both win. And if I say no? Rhea shrugged. Then I find another way. But it'll take longer, and Chase will have time to cover his tracks. I looked at the folder. Looked at her. How do I know you're not setting me up? You don't, she said, but I've got more to lose than you do. I tapped my fingers on the table. The waitress came by with a pot of coffee and refilled Rhea's mug without asking. Didn't offer me one. When's he go to the tower? I said. Tuesdays and Thursdays, after his evening class. Today's Thursday. Yeah. I pulled out my phone and checked the time. 6:15. I'm working a shift at the tower today, I said. If I see him, I'll see him. And if you find the bag, I'll document it, but I'm not stealing anything. Rhea nodded. Fair enough. I stood. She stayed seated. Evan, she said, he's not going to stop. You know that, right? I know. So don't stop either. I walked out. The condo tower loomed over the waterfront like a broken tooth. 15 floors, half-finished, wrapped in scaffolding and tarps that snapped in the wind. The ground floor was a maze of supply pallets, cement mixers, and tool lockers. The upper floors were skeletal, rebar and drywall and exposed wiring. I parked in the contractor lot and walked to the site office. Griggs was inside, leaning over a set of blueprints with a pencil behind his ear. Rourke, he said without looking up, you're early. Wanted to check the HVAC on 12 before the crew gets here. Griggs grunted. Fix it. That's the plan. I grabbed my tool bag from the locker and headed for the service elevator. Hit the button for 12. The elevator groaned and lurched upward, cables whining. When the doors opened, I stepped into a concrete hallway lined with plastic sheeting. The air smelled like dust and damp. I walked past rows of unfinished units until I found the mechanical room. Unlocked it with my master key. Inside, the HVAC unit hummed and clicked. I knelt beside it and checked the pilot light. It was out. I relit it, watched it flicker and catch, then die again. Great, I muttered. I pulled the access panel and checked the gas line. Everything looked fine. I checked the thermocouple. Also fine. Then I saw it. A wire, disconnected and dangling. I reconnected it. The pilot light flared and held. I sat back on my heels. Someone had disconnected it on purpose. I pulled out my phone and took a photo. Then I stood and looked around the room. On the far wall was a storage cage, chain link and padlocked. Inside were boxes, tarps, a ladder, and a duffel bag. I walked over. The lock was basic, a combination type. I pulled a small tension wrench from my tool bag and worked it for 30 seconds. The lock popped. I opened the cage. The duffel was black, nylon, with a monogram on the side, CA. I unzipped it. Inside, a second burner phone, a stack of printed photos, a handwritten list of names, and a set of key fobs. I pulled out the photos first. They were selfies, Chase with different women, all smiling, all posed like Instagram shots. On the back of each was a date and a single word. Done. I counted them. 8 total. I set them aside and picked up the list. The names were printed in neat block letters. Vanessa Cole, Jenna Rifkin, Lena Rourke, Simone Torres, Ashley Grant, Kristen Lau Mara Diaz, Rachel Kwan. Beside each name was a date. Lena's was 4 months ago. I pulled out my phone and took photos of everything, the duffel, the contents, the list. Then I picked up the key fobs. There were 5, each labeled with a unit number from the tower. 3 were residential units still under construction. The other 2 were storage units on the ground floor. I pocketed the fobs. The burner phone buzzed. I stared at it. Picked it up. One new message, from a contact labeled M. He's coming tonight. He said don't text, but I'm scared. I checked the timestamp. 3 days ago. I put the phone back in the duffel and zipped it. Locked the cage. Left the mechanical room. When I got back to the ground floor, Griggs was still in the office. Fixed? He said. Yeah. Wire came loose. They always do. I set my tool bag down. Griggs, you ever see anyone else up on 12? He looked up. Why? Someone's been messing with the HVAC. Messing how? Disconnecting wires. Griggs frowned. You sure? Yeah. He chewed his pencil. I'll check the access logs. You got a time frame? Last week, maybe. I'll look into it. I nodded and walked out. By the time I got back to the bait shop, it was noon. I sat on the bed and pulled out my phone, opened the photos I'd taken. The list, the photos, the texts. Chase had a system. Find a woman, charm her, isolate her, move her like furniture, Ria's words. And Lena was just another name. I texted Dominic, found more. Call me. He called 2 minutes later. What did you find? He said. I told him. The duffel, the list, the photos, the key fobs. When I finished, he was quiet for a long time. Evan, he said, this is evidence. I know. You need to turn it over. To who? The police. And tell them I broke into a storage cage? You didn't break in. You had access. They won't care. Dominic sighed. Probably not. But if you don't report it, and something happens to one of those women, nothing's going to happen. You don't know that. I'll figure it out. Evan, I'll figure it out. I hung up. I stared at the list. 8 names. 8 women. I pulled up Facebook and started searching. Vanessa Cole, real estate agent in Portland. Jenna Rifkin, marketing director in Boston. Lena Rourke, sales rep, local. Simone Torres, yoga instructor in Newport. On and on. I clicked on Vanessa's profile. Her most recent post was from 2 months ago, taking some time away from social media to focus on healing. Jenna's profile was locked. Simone's was public. Her last post was a photo of her at the beach, caption, New Beginnings. I went through the rest. 3 were locked. 2 had gone dark months ago. 1, Rachel Kwan, had a post from yesterday, still trying to figure out what happened. I clicked on her profile. She lived in town, worked at a bookstore. I clicked on her photos. One from 6 months ago showed her at SculptHouse, smiling beside Chase. I sent her a message. This is going to sound strange, but I need to talk to you about Chase Adler. It's important. I hit send and set the phone down. Then I opened my laptop and pulled up the tower's security system. I didn't have admin access, but I had enough to view the logs. I filtered by Unit 12, mechanical room, last 7 days. 3 entries, me, Griggs, and 1 other. The timestamp was Tuesday night, 8 p.m. The access code belonged to a contractor badge, number 4739. I pulled up the badge database, searched for 4739. The record came up, Chase Adler, temporary access, fitness facility liaison. I sat back. He'd been in the tower, in the mechanical room, disconnecting wires. Why? I checked the logs again. Tuesday night. That was the night before Lena called and asked if I'd reflected. I pulled up the tower's floor plan. Unit 12, mechanical room, shared a wall with Unit 14, a residential unit under construction. I checked the key fobs I'd taken from the duffel. One was labeled 14. I grabbed my jacket and keys. The tower was quiet. No crew, no Griggs. Just me and the wind whining through the unfinished floors. I took the service elevator to 14 and stepped into the hallway. The unit door was ajar. I pushed it open. Inside was a shell. Bare walls, concrete floors, wiring hanging from the ceiling. The windows were covered with plastic sheeting that snapped and billowed. In the center of the room was a folding chair and a tripod. I walked over. The tripod held a camera angled toward the window. The camera's screen was dark. I turned it on. The last video was dated Tuesday night. I hit play. The frame showed the window, the plastic sheeting, and beyond it, the waterfront, the marina, the docks, and me. I was walking down the pier toward Slip 47. The camera zoomed in. I watched myself step onto Chase's boat, peel back the canvas, open the gym bag, the video cut. I stared at the screen. He'd known I was coming. He'd set it up. I checked the camera's memory card. Empty, except for that one video. I ejected the card and pocketed it. Then I heard footsteps. I spun. Chase stood in the doorway, phone in hand. "Evan," he said, "I was hoping you'd show." I didn't move. "You're predictable," Chase said. "Rhea tells you about the duffel, you come looking. I tell you about the boat, you go snooping. It's like clockwork." "You set me up." "I documented your trespassing. There's a difference." "You disconnected the HVAC so I'd come up here." Chase smiled. "You're smarter than I gave you credit for." "What do you want?" "I want you to stop." "Stop what?" "Digging, scheming, pretending you're some kind of vigilante. It's pathetic." I took a step forward. "You manipulated my stepdaughter. I helped her find her voice. You helped Lena get rid of me. She didn't need help. You were already gone." "That's not true." Chase shrugged. "Believe what you want. But if you keep pushing, I'll make sure everyone sees this video. I'll make sure they know you broke into my boat, stole my phone, stalked me at the marina. I didn't stalk you, and threatened me in my own studio. Do you think anyone's going to believe you after that?" I stared at him. He stared back, calm and smug. "Get out of my way," I said. "Or what?" I stepped around him and walked toward the door. "Evan," he called. I stopped. "This isn't over," he said, "but it will be. Soon." I kept walking. When I got back to the truck, I sat there, hands shaking, breath coming fast. He'd played me, set me up, recorded it. But he'd also made a mistake. He'd shown me the duffel. He'd given me the key fobs. He'd confirmed that he'd been in the tower, in the mechanical room, disconnecting wires. And I'd documented all of it. I pulled out my phone and texted Dominic. He set me up, recorded me at the marina, but I've got more on him. Dominic's response came fast. "Stop, now." I typed back, "I'm not stopping." 3 dots appeared. Then don't get caught. I set the phone down and drove to the studio. SculptHouse was busy, evening class in full swing, bass thumping through the walls. I parked across the street and watched through the windows. Chase was inside, leading the class, microphone clipped to his shirt. He moved between clients, correcting form, smiling, performing. Beside him was Rhea, arms crossed, watching. I waited until the class ended and the clients filed out. Watched Chase pack up his equipment, watched Rhea approach him, say something, and walk away. Then I got out of the truck and crossed the street. The lobby was empty. I walked down the hallway toward the workout floor. Chase saw me coming. He set down his water bottle and smiled. "Twice in one day," he said. "I'm flattered." "We need to talk." "I disagree." I stopped in front of him. "You recorded me at the marina. I documented a crime. I didn't commit a crime. You trespassed on my boat. It was unlocked. Still trespassing. You set me up. I protected myself." I took a step closer. "You manipulated Maya. You helped Lena destroy my reputation. You've done this to 8 other women, and you think recording me makes you safe?" Chase's smile widened. "I think it makes me untouchable." "You're not." "Prove it." I pulled out my phone, opened the photos of the duffel contents, held it up. "What's that?" Chase said. "Your list." His smile vanished. 8 names, I said. 8 women. You charmed them, isolated them, moved them like furniture. Rhea told me. "Rhea doesn't know what she's talking about." "Then why do you have their photos? Why do you have a burner phone with texts from Maya? Why do you have key fobs to units you don't own?" Chase grabbed for the phone. I stepped back. "Give me that," he said. "No. Evan, you're done." He lunged. I sidestepped. He stumbled into a weight rack, caught himself. "You want to fight me?" he said. "Go ahead. There are cameras everywhere." I looked up. He was right. Cameras in every corner. "I don't need to fight you," I said. I just need to ruin you. I turned and walked out. Behind me, Chase shouted something, but I didn't hear it. I got in my truck and drove away. When I got back to the bait shop, I sat on the bed and opened my laptop, uploaded the photos from my phone, organized them into a folder. Chase, evidence. Then I sent the folder to Dominic with a message. He's going down. Dominic's response came an hour later. Meet me tomorrow. 9 a.m. My office. I closed the laptop and lay back. Tomorrow I'd figure out the next step. Tomorrow I'd make them both pay. Tonight, I just needed to sleep. But sleep didn't come. Dominic's office was small and neat. Bookshelves lining the walls, a desk with nothing on it but a legal pad and a pen. He gestured to the chair across from him. Sit, he said. I sat. He opened a folder, thick and heavy. I've reviewed everything you sent me, the texts, the photos, the list, the video. And? And you've got enough to destroy Chase Adler. Good. But not legally. I leaned forward. What do you mean? Most of what you found was obtained without proper access. The duffel, the key fobs, the burner phone, you didn't have permission to take those. I didn't take them. I documented them. You took photos without consent, in a private storage area, that I had access to. For maintenance, not for investigating. I sat back. So what are you saying? I'm saying if you try to use this in court, it'll get thrown out. And Chase will sue you for invasion of privacy. Then what's the point? The point, Dominic said, is leverage. He pulled a document from the folder and slid it across the desk. This is a settlement offer. You agree to drop the divorce proceedings in exchange for Chase agreeing to stay away from you, Lena, and Maya. I stared at the paper. That's it? That's it. No consequences for him? No punishment? Not legal ones. What about the women on the list? That's up to them. You can share what you found, but they'd have to file their own complaints. And Lena, she's not on trial. Neither is Chase, technically. You have enough to embarrass them, to humiliate them, to make their lives difficult, but not enough to put them in jail. I pushed the paper back. I'm not signing that. Evan, I'm not signing. Dominic sighed. Then what do you want? I want them to feel what I felt. I want them to lose everything. That's not how the law works. Then I'll work outside the law. Evan, I'm not committing fraud, but I'm not walking away either. Dominic stared at me for a long time. Then he closed the folder. If you do this, he said, you do it carefully, you do it clean, and you do it alone. I can't be part of it. I understand. Do you? Yes. He stood. Then we're done here. I stood, walked to the door. Evan, Dominic said. I looked back. Don't do anything you can't undo. I didn't answer. I walked out. The next week was reconnaissance. I watched Chase's schedule, mapped his routines, identified his weak spots. He went to the studio every morning at 6, left at 10, went to the tower on Tuesdays and Thursdays, hit the marina on Fridays. Lena was harder to track. She'd blocked me on everything. But I had Nora. She's spiraling, Nora said one afternoon, sitting on her porch with a beer. Posting passive-aggressive quotes. Texting people screenshots of your old messages, asking if they think you sound creepy. Does anyone? A few. Most people think she's unhinged. Good. Nora gave me a look. What are you planning? Nothing. Bullshit. I'm serious. Evan, I've known you 10 years. I know when you're planning something. I took a sip of my beer. Chase has a partner vote coming up. Ria's trying to get him out. And I'm going to help. How? By making sure everyone sees who he really is. Nora leaned back. You're going to ruin him. Yeah? Good. The vote was scheduled for next Thursday. I had 6 days. I spent the first 3 gathering testimonies. I reached out to the women on the list, the ones with public profiles, and asked them to talk. Vanessa Cole didn't respond. Jenna Rifkin blocked me. Simone Torres agreed to a phone call. Chase was charming, she said. Attentive. He made me feel like I was the only person in the room. And then he wasn't. He started canceling plans, stopped answering texts. When I asked what was wrong, he said I was being clingy. Did he ever mention other women? No. But I found out later there were others. A lot of others. Did he ever lie to you? All the time. About where he was, who he was with, what he wanted. I thought I was crazy. Turns out I was just another name on a list. I thanked her and hung up. Rachel Kwan called me back. I saw your message, she said. I've been waiting for someone to ask. Ask what? If Chase hurt me, if he manipulated me, if he made me feel like I was nothing. Did he? Yes. Will you go on record? I already did. I filed a complaint with the Better Business Bureau 6 months ago. They dismissed it, said it was a personal matter. What if I told you I have proof? Photos, texts, a list of names? She was quiet for a long time. Then, what do you need me to do? Come to the vote on Thursday. Tell your story. Will it matter? It will if enough people hear it. Then I'll be there. By Wednesday, I had 3 women willing to speak. Simone, Rachel, and a 4th, Ashley Grant, a personal trainer from Providence. I sent the details to Rhea. She responded immediately. This is perfect. See you Thursday. Thursday came cold and gray. The studio was packed. Members, staff, investors, all crammed into the workout floor with folding chairs arranged in rows. Chase stood at the front, microphone in hand, smiling. I stood in the back with Rhea. You ready? She said. Yeah. Don't screw this up. I won't. The meeting started. Rhea gave a presentation. Financials, membership retention, vendor disputes. She didn't mention Chase by name, but the implication was clear. The business was bleeding money, and he was the cause. Chase took the mic. I understand there have been concerns, he said, but let's not forget what SculptHouse is. It's a community, a family, and families work through problems together. Scattered applause. I've made mistakes, he continued. I've overextended on sponsorships. I've comped memberships to build buzz. But I've also brought in clients. I've built a brand. And I'm not giving up on that. More applause. Rhea stood. I'd like to invite some people to speak. Chase's smile faltered. Simone walked to the front, took the mic. My name is Simone Torres, she said, and Chase Adler manipulated me. The room went quiet. She told her story. Clean, simple, devastating. When she finished, Rachel took the mic, then Ashley. By the time they were done, the room was silent. Chase stood. These are lies. They're not, Rhea said, and I have proof. She held up a folder, my folder, the one with the photos and the list. This is a list of women Chase targeted, Rhea said. Their names, their photos, their dates. He kept it in a duffel bag in a storage unit at the condo tower, along with a burner phone he used to coordinate. Chase's face went white. That's private property. That's evidence, Rhea said, and I'm sharing it. She opened the folder and held up the list. The room erupted. Chase grabbed for the mic. You can't. I can, Rhea said. And I am. I'm calling for a vote to remove Chase Adler as co-owner of SculptHouse Fitness Studio. All in favor? Hands shot up, dozens of them. Opposed? 3 hands. Motion passes. Chase stared at the room. Then he turned and walked out. The door slammed behind him. I followed him. He was halfway down the block when I caught up. Chase, he spun. What do you want? I want to make sure you understand. Understand what? That you lost. He laughed, bitter and sharp. I didn't lose. I just got voted out of a shitty gym. You lost everything. Your business, your reputation, your leverage over Lena. Lena still loves me. No, she doesn't. She loves what you did for her. But now you can't do anything. Chase stepped closer. You think you're clever? You think you won? I know I did. He shoved me. I stumbled back. He shoved me again. Stop, I said. Make me. He swung. I ducked. His fist hit the brick wall behind me. He screamed and grabbed his hand. I didn't move. You're done, I said. Stay away from Lena. Stay away from Maya. Stay away from me. Or what? Or I'll send this video to every woman on that list. I'll send it to your sponsors. I'll send it to the local news, and I'll make sure everyone knows who you really are. I held up my phone. On the screen was the video from the tower, Chase setting up the camera, recording me, smiling. His face went pale. You wouldn't. Try me. I turned and walked away. Behind me, Chase shouted something, but I didn't hear it. I got in my truck and drove to Lena's house. She answered the door in yoga pants and an oversized sweater. Her hair was down, her face bare. Evan, she said. Lena. What are you doing here? I held up my phone. I want you to watch something. I don't. Watch it. I hit play. The video from the tower filled the screen. Chase setting up the camera. Chase recording me. Chase smiling. Lena watched, face unreadable. When it finished, she looked up. So, he set me up. He recorded me without my knowledge. He manipulated Maya. He manipulated you. He didn't manipulate me. Yes, he did. Evan, you coached Maya to lie about me. You told her what to say. You gave her the phrases. And then you brought Chase in to reinforce it. Lena's face hardened. You can't prove that. I held up the phone again. I have the texts, from your account to Maya, time-stamped, detailed. Her eyes widened. You wanted me gone, I said. So you lied. You used your daughter, and you brought in a man who's done this to 8 other women. That's not. It is. And now everyone knows. Lena stepped back. Get out. I'm filing for divorce on Monday. You'll get the papers by Wednesday. Sign them, or I'll release everything, the texts, the videos, the list. And I'll make sure everyone knows what you did. You wouldn't. Try me. I turned and walked back to my truck. Behind me, the door slammed. Monday came. I filed the papers. Wednesday, Lena signed them. No fight, no argument, just a signature and a check for half the value of the house. Dominic called me that afternoon. It's done. Good. You got what you wanted. Yeah. Was it worth it? I thought about Maya crying on the porch, about Chase, voted out and humiliated, about Lena signing papers with shaking hands. Yeah, I said. It was. I hung up. That night I drove to the marina, parked at the edge of the lot and walked down to the docks. The water was black and still. The boats creaked in their slips. Overhead, the security lights buzzed. I walked to slip 47. Second wind was gone. I stood there for a long time, hands in my pockets, breath misting in the cold. Then I turned and walked back to my truck. When I got to the bait shop, I sat on the edge of the bed and pulled out my phone. Opened my messages. One new text from Maya. Thank you. I stared at it. Typed back, you're welcome. Then I set the phone down and lay back. It was over. They'd lost everything. Their reputations, their control, their certainty that they could lie and get away with it. And I'd walked away, clean, free, alive. I closed my eyes,